Welcome back to Professional Sales Week 2. I hope by now you are diving into the materials. You're in your second week of reading part 1 of Dale Carnegie's book. You should finish up that part this week, and then next week, 1 week from Sunday, you will have your first reflection paper due. I'm expecting to see what this means to you, not just a book summary. You've been doing those since the 3rd grade. This is not a book report. I want you to do some self-reflection as to what Carnegie's saying and how what he's saying has impacted you. No bullcrap. Just honestly, if you think it stinks, tell me that too and tell me why. I suspect you won't if you're actually taking the material to heart. Take this material and examine yourself and say, hey, you know what? This is something I do well, and this is something that I do not do well. We talked about last week the importance of listening to your clients. This week, we're going to talk about the importance of building trust and behaving ethically. Again, there's a lot of salesperson reputation out there. And I'm here to tell you, it's all about the relationships and it's all about the trust. Now, the trust takes time to build. And there are a lot of attributes that we talked about in class when it comes to trust, and that's dependability, and that's knowing you can count on someone to always do the right thing. So that kind of ties into the ethics. One of the things that Carnegie really talks about is humility. And that kind of flies in the face of the reputation of salespeople everywhere, because usually people think, oh, they're cocky and they talk about themselves and they're real flashy. That's not at all who people want to be around. And if you can be the type of salesperson that people can trust, they know you're ethical, and when you come through the door, you've got a smile and they smile and you have a wonderful relationship that's built up over time, you're going to be able to sell things. So let's talk about humility. I'll be perfectly honest. Humility is one of those things that I've always struggled with. This is what I want to see in your reflection papers. What have you struggled with and where can you grow? Because a person who can acknowledge not only their strengths, but also more importantly, their weaknesses and shore them up, that's a person that I'm going to want to work with if they're selling me something. And that's the truth of pretty much everyone out there. So I really struggle with humility. I'm an excitable guy. I love to tell people what's on my mind. I love to come up with new ideas. I'm doing it right now with some stuff around school. And I get so excited. I can't wait to tell someone about it that I forget to do what we were talking about last week. Just hush and listen. Ask a question. See how someone's doing. Start to build a relationship. And honestly, one of the things that I struggled with is as simple as I would interrupt people. And I would do it in meetings. If you're watching this right now, you know it, all right? And I'm sorry. That's a fault of mine. That's something I'm working on. What are you working on? Well, mine kind of comes back to humility, because I'm sitting there thinking while someone else is talking that I can't wait for them to shut up so I can say what I want to say. Have we been there? We've all been there. So we need to find a way to shore up your weaknesses. I've told you one of mine. As we move towards next week in your first reflection paper, I want you to start thinking about your weaknesses and how can you shore those up to build stronger relationships. So this week we're in chapter 2 of your textbook, Sell. You guys know you'll have a reading quiz due on Sunday, and I want you to make sure you're not just breezing through this material, because you're going to have to sell me something here pretty soon. It's coming up faster than you know. Check your syllabus. And I want to see growth in these particular attributes. So this week is all about building trust. And in class the other day, we talked about what are some types of things that people are looking for. And I feel like this book was kind of just meant for me, because the example last week was a territory manager with GlaxoSmithKline selling pharmaceuticals. Guess what? That's what I was. This week, it's about an ophthalmic salesman selling a lens. Guess what? My wife is an eye surgeon, and she deals with ophthalmic salesmen all the time. So if you go into the reading, this rep could not get an appointment with this doctor. And so he just finally made a medical appointment with him, got an eye exam, and then halfway through the exam admitted, yeah, I just did this whole thing so I could talk with you. That might be seen as slick, but also might be seen as a little bit of shady. So I actually asked my wife what she would think if a rep did that, and I was a little bit surprised. She actually said, I'd be impressed with his initiative. I like to feel if I was in that situation, I wouldn't do that if I was a sales rep. But read about it. Think about it. What's the ethical behavior there? So what's your expertise? A big thing. You know, the most important thing you can tell your client is if they ask you a technical question about your product or service and you don't know the answer, it's perfectly fine to say, you know what, I don't know the answer to that, but I will get that answer for you. Because if you start making stuff up on the spot and they know it, they'll never trust you again. So trust is key. It takes forever to build trustful relationships. To be in sales, you don't have to be cocky and quick and talking about all the slick talk and all this stuff. You just need to be persistent. Persistent about building your relationships and adamant that you do it in the right way, the ethical way, so people can trust you. You can build trust over time and you can lose it in 2 seconds. All right, so I'm going to let you guys read a little bit more about trust this week and being dependable. There's some very good ethical dilemmas in the reading this week. I'd love for you to hop in there and look at those. And just remember, trust. Build trust over time. Make sure you're behaving ethically. Make sure you're listening, like we said last week. And then keep in mind, you can lose that trust in an instant. So if your client tells you, or asks you a question, hey, what does this mean? Or what is this? And you don't know, it's okay. You don't have to be perfect. In fact, they'd rather deal with a less than perfect person who's humble, who can say, you know what, hat in hand, I'm not sure the answer to that question, but I can tell you what I can do. I'm going to provide you with the very best customer service. I'm going to get you the answer. I'm going to find you the expert. I'm going to take care of you. And they know they can trust you. By the way, man, there's a little reading about these little Reese's Pieces, like Easter thingies. Yeah, I'm all about those. I love those. Those things are good. So be sure to read about that. Sales ethics, just be the type of person you'd want to be your friend. Build trust. Listen. If you don't know the answer, kindly tell them you don't know the answer, but that you will get it for them. I look forward to seeing what you guys learn. I'm really looking forward to your reflection papers based on Carnegie. Keep after it. Please let me know if you need anything.